Hello everybody, this video is about my brand new book. In this video, I go through the process of what it takes to proof the color proofs that come from the printer before you press the button and spend all that money. So please, follow me in real time as I go through the proofs and talk about some of the technical stuff. So this is a very exciting moment in regards to my new book, which I've talked about a few times. Once you make all the files go off to the printer and they send you back proofs. And this is the first set of proofs. Now what we have is a full-size scale 1:1 proof of all pages in this book. And there's a lot of pages in this book. So that means there's a lot of proofs. Years of work are in this moment. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Alright, there you go. There's page 1. But this is an exciting moment because here it is for real. Oh my god. I think we might do a little Instagram post in the middle of our video here. Just a little one. Show me now. Holy goodness, that looks good, y'all. That looks good! Yes, so the proofing process. So what this is about is obviously we check for spelling errors and things like that, but the most important part of this particular part of the process is we are checking for color and visual errors. Are the photographs looking as schmick? The resolution! So good. So good. This book is made up of images from a Nikon F5 for film, Nikon F5, the Nikon D3, the Nikon D2x, the Nikon D700, the Nikon D3s, the Nikon D4, the Nikon D800, D800e, D810, and the D850 came out just after I wrapped production. So there is no D850s, but geez, there's a lot of other Ds in there. Did I mention the D70? There's first chapter complete, and I'm very excited. I am very excited. Here's another little sneak peek. Can you guess where that part of Sydney is? Maybe, maybe not. What's been going on? Well, I've been working on a Sydney book for a very, very long time. The oldest images in this book is from 1992, so 25 years ago exactly. And I've just been chipping away at it, chipping away for years and years and years. And finally the time has come to get this book out into the wild. The book is going to be called Sydney, A Love Affair. Well, when I say is going to be, it is called that. There it is, Sydney, A Love Affair. And this goes with my other book, which is Melbourne, A Love Affair, of which there are 2 sizes. The small one, and here's one of the jackets of the big one. So I've done 2 versions of this book. There you go, you can get an idea of the 2 sizes. So, Melbourne, A Love Affair, it's been a great success for me. So much so that after the big one, we did the little one, and so much so, these are looking amazing. Sydney was the follow-up. It's going to be exactly the same size as this, so this is quite big. That's quite a big book. Weighs a lot, like 2.5 kilos, and if you love a city and you love good photography, well, these books are a good place to get into it. So what's my style of photography? Well, I suppose I haven't talked that much about my photography style on this channel. I'm a streetscape photographer, and I've been a streetscape photographer since I first went out when I was about 15 and started photographing the city because I thought it was such a beautiful place. So off I went. Well, that turned into my career, which is now just shy of 30 years. I've been doing this for 28 years as a paid professional. And it's brilliant. So streetscape, yeah, so what I'm mostly interested in is juxtaposition, nature versus man, mood. I love mood, I love rain, I love fog, I love sun, I love cloud, I love it all. All the different states that a city can find itself in. So like this one, look at that. Probably can't even hardly see it because it's foggy. Mood, tells a story, brings dimension. So when I was a kid, I grew up here in Melbourne, right down south in Australia on the mainland, and because there is Tasmania further south. I was just besotted. I was quite besotted by this city that I was growing up in and what it looked like. I had no plans on being a professional photographer. I just loved the city, grabbed a camera and just wanted to start documenting what I saw and how I saw it. And in the 80s, which is when I started all this, there was no digital cameras and most people were shooting lots of color and it looked a little bit like an episode of Miami Vice, really. Pastel was all the rage and it was all just shoot it on a bright sunny day and make it pop as hard as it possibly can. And but it just really wasn't working in the 80s. So I loved film. One of my favorite films of all time was Blade Runner. Came out in 1982 or 3. And that really influenced my visual style. And because I was a kid, I was like 10, 11 when that came out. And I just saw that Melbourne had this same film noir, cinematic, emotional voice and story. And I just thought, well, why isn't this being told? It's being done in this very crass picture postcard way. Phone's ringing, I'll be back in a minute. Quite interesting. Different lights have very, very slightly different color temperatures. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking at it for color, and that's something that I can see really, really quickly. So we have to do RGB to CMYK, step number 1, because of course you can't print CMYK printing if your images are in the RGB color space. So we do that first. And then every printer in the world has their own color profile. Well, no, that's not true. Some use standard ones like Adobe RGB 1998 or whatever it's called. And some don't. My printer does not. They have their own one. So then all the images need to be calibrated, profiled for their presses. And then sometimes that profile changes things so much that you need to adjust the image so it can go back to its original form. And so if you can imagine, this book has over 200 images in it. And if each image takes somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, you're talking 1,000 to 2,000 minutes. That's a lot of time just to get the images in the right color space, let alone anything else you might do, like laying out the book and writing the words and all that sort of stuff. So just Monday this week, I had to hit the deadline of files being proofed and finalized to make these things before the open of business on Monday morning. So I worked till 6:30 in the morning so to say it's all ready, it's all up on the FTP server, off you go. And that was running it to the finish line because I was just double and triple checking everything and making sure I was happy, because once these things are printed, there's no turning back, and the investment in getting them printed is very high. Depending on which car you might want to buy, you could buy 1 or 2 or 3. It's an expensive business. It's a very expensive business. Check it out though. How good does it look? Oh my God, I am pumped. then the conceptual chapter, which has got the more abstract stuff. So we're on a very tight deadline. I've got to have this round of proofs proved by Friday in order to meet the deadline, in order to have the book launch. And I've just gotten back from Sydney organising the book launch. So everything's set in play now. No opportunity to drop the ball. And very good. You know, I'm not really seeing any problems here. Look. There's the index page. There's index page number 1. Lots of pictures. And there's index page number 2. Lots more pictures. And there's the final page of the book. Boom. Got all the boring stuff. And some cool stuff. And a tree. So, thank you very much for watching. I'm super pumped. This is the Sydney book. So, basically from this point on, it's about 2 months until the ship arrives. It's about a month until they get flown over. We'll get a couple of advance copies. And that's when I'll be bouncing off the ceiling. That's when you really know if it's all worked out, when you actually see the printed bound book. You got it in your hand and you're going, oh yeah. So we'll do another video and we can talk more about books and how you make books. Hello. And I forgot this one. What's that one, you might say? What's that one? What's that one? Well, this one is... It's absolutely gorgeous. This is the jackets of the book. This is what's on the outside. This is the... Probably really, in a way, the most important part. Oh, looking good! Scraped it there like this. Oh my god. So, this is the case. So if you can imagine, when you take a jacket off, this is a book without its jacket, and you can print on that. And for my first book, I didn't print anything. I just did this embossed thing, which is beautiful. There's not even anything on the spine, see? For this book, I decided to print a couple more things, and this is what's going to be printed. Don't worry about the colour bars down the bottom there for the printer, but there's a few little subtleties. You'll be able to see those close up when you get yourself a book. You can't tell a book by a cover, they say, but in regards to a photography book, I think that's actually a little less true. And what you do on the cover is ridiculously important. Check it out. There's the jacket. Booyah! Okay, well there we go. People, I am so excited. That is me proofing my next book. That's book number 3 if you don't count the journals and the diaries. If you did, it'd be like book number 6. Oh, I've got another book coming out later this year. It's about St. Paul's Cathedral. So that kind of makes it book number 7. Anyhow, we'll talk about that later. That's right, Cobber. If I go into my Australian voice, it's been so good to see. I love yous all. And don't forget to like. And don't forget to share. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Making books is a very complicated affair, and this video was just about the proofing process, the profiling process, and the time it takes to do something as big as a coffee table book. It's months and years in the making. If you have any more questions, please pop them in the comments below, and I look forward to doing my very best to answer yours. Bye for now.